I'll be ready when you be ready.
So 10 years ago, I was 6 years old, and I got to take my first ever tap class. And it was just the funnest thing in the world. It's been my favorite style of dancing since then, and I really enjoyed it. I wanted to find out more about where it came from and how it came to be. And I started researching it, and it actually has a really interesting history. So I wanted to share that with you guys today, and also teach you how to do some of the steps. This is the basic definition of tap dance. It's a noun. And basically, people wear these special shoes that have taps on them made out of metal or aluminum. And they pound out beats with their feet using different ways of moving between their toes and their heels. Way back when the slave trade was going on, this is sort of when tap dancing first started, because the slaves were mostly African Americans, so they would have these drums that they would beat out beats on. That was how they did their ceremonies. And then they started using the drums to communicate between ships, like Morse code. So the slave traders found out and took their drums away. Then they found out they could use their feet, so they just pounded out the beats with their feet on the wood deck, and they could still communicate. That was the first tap dancing sort of thing, and it was used for communication. The first time it was used for entertainment was in the 1840s by this guy named William Henry Lee. He did what is called the Juba dance, and it's a mix of the jig, the clog, real steps, and African rhythms. So tap dance is really just all these different cultures, dances coming together. In the evolution of the shoe, it used to just be a full wooden sole, and now it's like this split, the toe and the heel. And after it was a wooden sole, they pounded pennies into the sole. And it was not made out of metal with a split sole until the 1910s. And this is Master Juba doing the Juba dance. A few famous tap dancers. The Nicholas brothers, they were named Fayard and Harold. They grew up in Philadelphia with their parents who were both musicians. They have a really acrobatic type of dancing, and they really put a lot of flips and everything into their tapping. Fred Astaire, he was really huge. He was a dancer, singer, actor, choreographer. He did everything in the entertainment business. His film career lasted 76 years, and he made 31 musical films during that time. He mostly danced with partners, with girls, and his favorite partner was Ginger Rogers, and they were really famous for their tap dancing. Gene Kelly, he wasn't quite as famous, but still pretty famous, good tap dancer. And this video here, this is Bill Rogers and Shirley Temple. They did this staircase dance in the Little Colonel in 1935. I'm just going to show you a little bit.
Now you just watch. I went to the market to get some tea, and things so tough, and I couldn't get it done. I paid $5 for a red big hog, and the hog so fat, and I couldn't get back.
Wow.
And he goes all the way up the staircase, and at one point he is turning as he goes down it, and I'm not really sure how he does it. I would definitely fall if I tried it. This is just a quote that Fred Astaire once said, and I really like it. It says, "Do it big, do it right, and do it with style." And that's just sort of how he lived his whole life. Okay, now you guys get to stand up.
Oh boy.
Learn some of the simple stuff here. So, the first tap step that first year students learn is called the shuffle. And it has two sounds in it, and you basically are pushing your foot forward and backwards like this. And it sounds just like the word is, it goes shuffle.
Klein, you can do this with your cleats on.
And then another really easy one is called the cramp roll. And you can do this anytime, you don't have to take a tap class. You just go toe, and you do the other toe, and then you start with your heel and your heel. And so you go like right toe, left toe, right heel, right heel. And then you can sort of speed it up with it. Like that. Just sort of don't do it.
I don't know what I can do.
And then another one is called the paradiddle. You start with your heel, and again, the sound that you make just is exactly like the word. You go heel, and then you brush back your toe, and then you step with your toe, and then you drop your toe. So it's like paradiddle.
Klein gave up.
Do that.
And then
Noise.
one more that you guys can try out is called the slap, and it's a little bit harder. It's like brush step. But you do it really fast, and so it sounds like this.
I'm doing it in my head. I'm good.
You can sit down. Some of the other somewhat basic steps are a wing and a pullback. To do a wing, you would go outside of this front toe tap, and then you would go inside. And you do it with both feet at the same time, so it sounds like this. And then the pullback is basically you bend your knees to get your preparation, and then you pull your feet back really hard as you can, to get a sound that sounds something like this.
That's what I was afraid of. Remember we talked. That's okay. You saved it.
And then these are the advanced steps. There's time steps, all sorts of those. And then there's variations on the pullbacks and the wings. Most advanced steps are just simple steps put together and then sped up really fast. I can show you the time steps really quick. You might notice the difference. It's sort of hard to hear it. But each time on the first through fourth, I'm going to add a sound. So the first one sounds like this. And then the second one sounds like this. And then the third one has another sound and it sounds like this. And then the final one has one extra sound, and it's basically you add a heel in the middle of it all. And that's how that works. Variations on the pullbacks and the wings, you could do them one-footed. I'm not going to try that because I'd probably fall. And then cramp rolls, you just do them faster, and then you can start with your heels and go like that. Paradiddles and rolling shuffles are like this. And you just speed them up really fast. And you can do paradiddles really fast. Like that. Yeah. Some of the reasons to tap dance, it's a great workout. With just 1 hour of tap dancing, you can burn between 350 and 400 calories. And it gets your heart rate up. You can prevent serious diseases. Studies have shown that it reduces the risk of cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and osteoporosis because you're eating weight on your feet and it helps with the blood flow and bone growth. It's easy. It doesn't take a whole lot of training. You guys already learned like 3 steps. And then you can just go to your imagination and you just put it all together and make all sorts of stuff up. It doesn't take much equipment either. You just need a pair of tap shoes, and you can do it alone or with your friends. It develops balance because you're constantly shifting your weight and you're constantly going from 2 feet to 1 feet and back to 2 feet. And it really teaches you a lot of balance. And it relieves stress. Some people, when they're stressed out, they just want to hit something. And when you tap, what you're basically doing is you're pounding the ground. And you can tap as loud as you want, and you can just slap it. Sometimes in warm-ups, that's what we do. We just, and you keep doing that, and it just sort of loosens your muscles and relieves stress. So that's tap dancing, and I really like it, and I hope you guys try it out someday.
Cool.